Hi guys, so I've been working really hard chopping up all of my Derwent drawing pencil swatches to create for you a very highly requested item, which is of course the Colour with Claire family chart. So here you go. I hope that transition worked. I'm not very good with stuff like that. But yes, here is the 72 pencil colour family chart for the new Derwent drawing pencils. So I'm just going to zoom you in a little bit and we'll go through all of the different colour families that I've created. So of course we have first the Chinese white, which I always put as a black square on these family charts because I can show you. Just grab the Chinese white. This is my old one, by the way. When you colour it in, obviously white, you can't see that on white. So I always make that one black so that you can see how opaque the white is and how it covers on the black. So that's what that's for, because people do ask. Now you'll notice that a lot of these families are quite small. We've got plenty of 2 colour families, and that's because with there being 72 pencils, it's not a small amount of pencils by any means, but it's definitely not a large set, like a big decent set. We're talking Prismacolor 150, and you know, there's all kinds of different pencil sets from Temu and things that go up to 500. So when I'm creating a colour family chart, if there's a relatively small amount of pencils, there are a lot of gaps that need to be filled. So hopefully Derwent will make 150 set or even 120 set, and we can fill in a lot of these gaps and make these families a bit larger. But that's just the way that it goes. We end up with smaller families because there are colours missing from the families. So that's how it goes. But anyway, we started off with Chinese white, champagne yellow ochre, which is, again, the way I do these charts is I'm looking for the undertone of the colour. So the champagne is the undertone of the yellow ochre. It's the same family. It's really difficult to explain actually in words. It's something that I find quite intuitive. It's just something I can look at a colour and then I can look at other colours and I can pick which one has the same undertone, the same type of colour. Yeah, it's really difficult to explain. But then we have the wheat, the light ochre and the brown ochre. So I guess a good way of explaining it is if you took your darkest colour of the family, like the brown ochre, and you made it a bit lighter, you'd get the light ochre. Made that a bit lighter, you get the wheat. Now, this isn't a perfect family by any means. My colour family charts are rarely perfect because we all see colour differently, and there may not be a colour that is a perfect light tint of the light ochre. So the wheat is the closest. This is like closest match family chart. It's not perfect, so just keep that in mind. Then we've got the sunflower, mustard, gold and apricot, which is fairly self-explanatory. You can see these colours just go really, really well into each other. Now, I would like there to be another 1 or 2 shades between the gold and the apricot because that's quite a big leap in depth of colour there. But that's what we're working with. That's what we've got. So we've got a small 2 colour one here, the autumn leaf and the autumn red. Again, it's not perfect. The autumn red definitely has a lot more red in it, whereas the autumn leaf, it definitely has a lot more yellow in it. But there's no other colour within this set that will match as well together with these two. So again, just take it with a pinch of salt. It is, you know, it is what it is. It's the best I can do. We've got strawberry over here on its own, which is quite unusual. There might be 1 or 2 family charts where I've got a colour on its own, but it just wouldn't fit anywhere else. And even if it would fit, like say if the strawberry would fit with the rust, it's not quite right. And this rust goes perfectly in this family, but I can't fit this strawberry into this family. So this colour won't fit here. So again, you know, just take it with a pinch of salt. We've got Dusty Pink and Rioja, which is a really good undertone match there. The light sienna is slightly more peachy than the light rust, which is more pinky. But again, it was the only place where I could put it. It was the best place for it. And then this goes perfectly into the rust. Obviously, light rust and rust are bound to go together. And then the terracotta, you know, a few shades deeper than the rust and you would get something like a terracotta. Not perfect. Then we've got the oyster, which is a really, really light colour and it's barely visible. And there's no point even trying to put it on black because it will just show up as white. you've really got to challenge your retinas when you're doing this job and see if you can just see any kind of hint of colour when you get these super light colours. And the hint of colour was this ashy rose. So this, along with a few more in between colours, would turn into ash rose, and that is perfect with the burnt rose. Again, could do with a colour or two in between. We haven't got those. Bista and Ruby Earth. So if you go really, really light with this Ruby Earth, you will end up with something a bit like Bista. Soft Violet, Heather and Grape. Now, it's clear that there needs to be more colours here, because you can't go from this heather colour to this really dark grape. It is almost black. Again, when they're really light and they're really dark, it's very hard to tell the undertone. And I even scribbled a bit of this grape on my scrap paper and tried to wet it and get it a little bit soluble so I could see a lighter version of the colour. It was very difficult because they're not water soluble. I did get a little bit of movement on it, but it definitely has the warmth of these two colours. I was looking, does it have to go after the Violet Dusk? But this is a lot more blue, a little bit more desaturated and greyish. So it definitely works better with the heather, but we need some in-between colours there. The Slate Violet and the Violet Dusk. Slate Violet's one of those strange colours. You know, it's very, very grey. The Violet Dusk isn't as grey, and they're not, you know, a perfect match, but it was the only place to put them together. So that's why they are together. They will work as a blend. It's just that they're not 100%, you know, like say the Dusky Pink and Rioja, that's perfect, but these aren't. Then we've got the Teal Blue, Royal Blue and Delft Blue. So these are more of your moving into purples, but definitely heavy on the blue. You can imagine if you've got the Prismacolors, something like an Imperial Violet colour would be right around this sort of family. So we've got the Teal Blue, Royal Blue and the Delft Blue. Then we've got the Arctic, Polar Ice and Deep Atlantic. Arctic was another difficult one because it is so light. I was thinking, does the Arctic go in front of the teal, or, you know, where does it go? But it matches up better with the Polar Ice. This one is just a little bit too blue, a little bit too fresh for this, which is far more purple of a blue. And yeah, again, between the Polar Ice and the Deep Atlantic, we should really have a few more colours in there. It isn't perfect. It's got a little bit of a greenish tinge to it, the Deep Atlantic, whereas this hasn't. But again, difficult. I couldn't have put it in the next family, which is the more green predominant blues, because it would be too blue. But I've put the Solway Blue here. Even though it's predominantly grey, it does have a bluish greenish undertone to it, but it doesn't fit perfectly with the ash blue. It's just that that's the best place to put it. So ash blue and fir green, chef's kiss. Ink blue, bit more difficult because again, that is slightly more blue than it is green, but it's definitely too green to put over here. And then the Midnight is actually one of the black colours of the range. You'll find it right at the end of your tin. And if you look at it and you do the whole, you know, really trying to work out what undertone this is, get a bit of water on it, see if you can make it move, see if you can see the undertone, it does have blue in it. So it's probably easier to actually compare it to the black. Scribble them both out and see. You'll see that this one has blue undertone. Then we've got the Smoke Blue and the Spruce Green. I absolutely love this one. They go really, really well together. Again, there should be more colours between, but you can make this work because these pencils are so creamy, so buttery and so easily blendable that you can make a big gap family really work. Distant Green and Rainforest. So Rainforest could have gone with, it could really go with this light moss, I guess. You could make that a family. But again, looking at if we diluted this Rainforest colour really, really heavily, you would get something that looked a bit like the Distant Green. Then we've got Fresh Green and Moss Green, fairly self-explanatory. These are your sort of lime peel, apple green, olivey colours that you would get in a Prismacolor. Light Moss and Sage Leaf. So Sage Leaf, they're both desaturated colours. Sage Leaf is a desaturated deep greenish colour. And Light Moss, again, if you diluted this, you would get something akin to this. Forest is one of those really dark colours again, like the Grape and the Midnight, where you're struggling to figure out what actual colour this is. It looks black at first glance, but it's not. And that definitely has green to it. So if you're looking for a really deep, dark green, Forest. And that goes really well with the green shadow. Then we've got Green Earth and Olive Earth. Brilliant blend, just a few shades lighter and you will get Green Earth. Pale Cedar and Crag Green do go nicely together. There's not too much difference between them though. This you could say is a hair darker, but they're very, very similar. I don't know if I would have preferred not to have one of these colours and have a different colour somewhere else in the set, because they are really similar. The Warm Grey and the Warm Earth was a funny one because the greys are quite strange in this set. This was obviously right down at the bottom of the set with the greys, and it doesn't match up with any of the other greys. It's definitely got a brown tone to it. It's more like a French grey, and the closest that I could find to it was the Warm Earth. This one is not perfect, but again, it's the best place that I could have found to put it. Woodland and Dark Brown, it's a bit of a meh family, but again, each of the colours on their own would not slot into the rest of the brown families that I've got here, so they go together. The Mars Orange, Sanguine and Venetian Red. Again, between the Venetian Red and the Sanguine, you are missing a few transition colours, but you would eventually get there. It's a little bit more red than the Mars Orange, but we move. I hate phrases like that. Take it back, Claire. Yeah, it's what has to be. So there you go. Sepia Red and Chocolate, a bit like the Woodland and Dark Brown. It's a bit of a meh one because there's not many colours in it, but they were the best to go together. You could, of course, put chocolate at the end of your Venetian Red. I just found that this wasn't as red as this, and it matched up to the Sepia Red better. Then we've got these three weird greys. We've got Fossil Grey, Taupe and Mars Violet. Now these all have a purplish, reddish sort of undertone to them. Even the Fossil Grey, as light as it is, when you compare it to other greys, you can see the redness of the Mars Violet in it. So if you compare the Fossil Grey to the Granite, completely different. You can see the red of this Mars Violet. So that's where these have gone. Then we've got the Cool Grey, Mist and Carbon Grey. So again, these two aren't a very good match. This Mist is more silvery than the Cool Grey, and the Mist goes perfectly with the Carbon Grey, and I think the Cool Grey would go perfectly with the Carbon Grey, but it's like the Mist is sort of keeping them apart, and they don't match, but they do, and they do. So it's really, really difficult. And then we've got Platinum and Granite, which I think are probably the most neutral greys of the lot. It's not a great grey selection in these pencil sets, I will admit that. And then you've got your Ivory Black, which is the blackest of the blacks. The rest, like the Forest is green, Midnight is blue, Grape is purple, but they are really, really dark colours, and this is the most closest to black. Anyway, I have waffled on long enough. I really hope you enjoy the chart. As always, it's absolutely free to download. I'm going to leave a link in the description for my website. The actual link is colourwithclaire.com/charts. And I've got all my charts in alphabetical order. So if you just have a little wee scroll down to Derwent, you will see Derwent Drawing 72. That's the easiest way for me to upload the link. It keeps it on my website and easy to find, but I can't link straight to the chart. You have to go, to the chart section and look for it, but it's really simple. It's all alphabetical. So yeah, link in the description. I hope that you enjoy using it and you find it really useful. I put a lot of work into these, and it takes a lot of brain effort to see these undertones. Even though it is, as I said earlier, a bit of an intuitive thing, I also have to second guess and third guess and fourth guess myself to make sure, and like switch on the intellectual bit and think, does that actually go? So yeah, anyways, hope you love it and have a lot of enjoyment out of it. And I will see you soon on Colour with Claire.